Hey guys, and welcome to the first lesson of my online drum course, Hand Technique Demystified. The world of drumming hand technique is a land of secrets, myths and fairy tales, full of complicated terms like fulcrum, free stroke, molar, push-pull, and so on. Most professional drummers and even some dedicated beginners have heard those terms. However, I realized that a lot of people have actual difficulties to see through the forest of information overload and understand how to actually play the drums. I dedicated a lot of time not only going through almost every classic book, DVD or video on this topic and taking numerous private lessons with many different teachers, but also to demystifying, filtering and structuring the information that I thought was the most important. Let me make it clear right from the start that I did not reinvent the wheel here. I did not invent any of the following techniques. Most of them have been around for 100 years. I'm just showing and explaining. And I realized that my structured and holistic approach has not only helped me, but also many other people through my private teachings and workshops. You will hear information that you might already know, and you will hopefully get some new insights. You will hear me quote other teachers and underline their principles, and you will also hear me contradict other people, as there are a million different ways to get a good sound out of a drum, and even more ways to describe the motions. So this is how we're going to do it. I will demystify one important aspect of drumming hand technique every Monday, giving you a good overview that I will try to keep short and to the point. If you put all the lessons together in the end, it should give you a good structure to start with. However, there's much more to it. You could talk about every single one of those topics for hours and practice it literally for years. So please, for more detailed analysis and insights, go to my website simonspringer.online/school, where several other courses on hand technique as well as many other different topics will be released over time or might already be available by the time you're watching this on YouTube. On simonspringer.online you can also easily contact me via a secure contact form. So let's get right to our first lesson. How to hold a drumstick. How to hold it. This is literally the first lesson for every beginning drummer. However, I realized that also some more experienced players might have problems with the way the sticks lie in their hands. So let's take a look at it. A good way to start would be this. Get a drumstick, throw it in the air and catch it. Boom. This is how you hold a drumstick. You will always catch the stick in a kind of natural position that is ideal for your actual playing. You will never catch it like this, with only two fingers and the other one spread apart. You won't catch it like this in a full fist, and you probably also would not catch it like this. So yeah, traditional grip is already the elephant in the room, but we will discuss this next week. So throw it and catch it, and then make sure to use a fulcrum. Aha! Already the first term that maybe needs a little demystifying. A fulcrum is nothing more than a pivot point. It is the point where the stick turns. Yeah? And please make sure to always use a first-class fulcrum. This is what Tommy Igoe teaches. On a first-class fulcrum, one end goes up while the other end goes down, like on a seesaw. A second-class fulcrum is, for example, a door hinge. The door moves on a steady hinge, but nothing on the other side moves. This would be a second-class fulcrum. And please don't use that when playing the drums. So please have this air in the back here to allow a first-class fulcrum, no matter what position you're in. If you're more in this kind of position, or if you're more in this kind of position, and we will talk about the positions in a couple of weeks, but it doesn't really matter. It's always the same thing. Should move freely on a first-class fulcrum. That's important. Don't play like this. There are two more things that we have to discuss this week. First, where do we create the fulcrum on the stick? Every stick has a sweet spot, or rather a sweet area, where you get the best response out of it. It is the position from which you get the most rebound bounces when you loosely strike a playing surface. You see, when I grab it too much to the back, it will die immediately And when I hold it too much to the front, nothing at all will happen. So that's the sweet spot here. And as I've said, the sweet spot might be a sweet area where you can choose different positions depending on the playing feel you want to get. But you will immediately feel it when you're too far to the back or the front. And second, where do we create the fulcrum in our hand? There are three main positions. Having the fulcrum between your thumb and index finger gives you the most control over the stick. Don't get hung up on the exact position of your index finger. This might change within different situations and for different people. The second position would be between your thumb and middle finger, letting the index finger hang loose. This allows the stick to move more freely in your hand. And here you're definitely further back on the finger. And the third position would be a mix between the first two by creating a triangle between your thumb, index and middle finger. This is actually an advanced hybrid form allowing you to adapt quickly into whatever position. So you can stay in a triangle as well as move to the index finger or the middle finger very easily and by times subconsciously. A lot of great players use and teach this position. For example, Dave Wackel. There's also a fourth position called around the barrel where you move the fulcrum to the back of your hand. This gives you the most power and the most direct link between your forearm and the stick. Tony Williams used this grip quite a bit, and Klaus Hessler teaches it for molar-based whip strokes, but more on that in a couple of weeks. Although this is a great option to hold your drumstick, I personally would not consider it a main position or home base, so we will start up here. So where do the rest of the fingers go? They just close down lightly on the stick, without squeezing or curling or anything funny, just lightly on the stick. And please don't get hung up on the exact angle that your stick has to your forearm. A lot of people teach that it should be straight to your forearm, but if it's perfectly straight, it's a very unnatural playing position that you really can't do anything in, at least in this kind of position. It's never perfectly straight and it's never to the inside. It's more like, at a slight outward angle here. And it depends also on the position you're in, on the drum, and also on the player, but it's generally somewhere around here. If I'm more in a German position, it's more out there. If I'm more in a closed position, in an American or French position, it's more here. It really depends, but it's never completely straight. Don't overthink it, okay? The more important thing is to keep your wrist straight. Don't do that. That's always wrong, and a lot of people actually do that, and I used to do that before I reorganized my hand technique years ago. Keep it straight. If anything, it should be bent rather to the outside than to the inside, but keep it straight, okay? And last thing for today, always leave a gap between your thumb and index finger. That's what Todd Zuckerman taught me. The minute you close that gap, you have tension all the way up your forearm. And that is bad tension. So please always leave a space here as well. That's it for today. If you don't play traditional grip, do the exact same things with your weak hand. If you do play traditional grip, I'll have you covered next Monday. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section or go to my website. Please hit like and subscribe if you want to support me, and see you all next week.